Welcome to Mastery in the Making, a fresh new podcast by Cordon Bleu Australia. Join us as we deep dive into the minds of industry experts, entrepreneurs, and the voices of Cordon Bleu, the world's leading education provider in culinary arts and hospitality management. From expert lecturers to our incredible students and alumni, we'll uncover the secrets, stories, and skills that make this industry a world of endless possibilities. So, if you're a seasoned chef, aspiring hotelier, or simply want to keep your finger on the pulse, consider this your ultimate guide to culinary and business innovation. I'm your host, Stephanie Valudos, and welcome to Mastery in the Making. We've got something a little sweet for you today, and no, sadly, it's not cake, but she comes in the form of a much-loved Le Cordon Bleu Patisserie lecturer. Jenni Key has been imparting her knowledge onto future patissiers at our Adelaide campus for 8 years. And with more than 3 decades of experience under her belt, we are going to pick her brain on all things patisserie. Hello, Jenni, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. So before we dig in, you've been a lecturer with us for 8 years.
Yep.
What were you doing before that?
A list of many things. Obviously, I've been through my career mainly in hotels. So working in commercial kitchens, just producing bread, cake and pastry of all sizes and shapes. Then moved through that into my own business. So I've had a few businesses. We had with my ex-husband a Greek restaurant, which doesn't really show me at all. Not Greek and not into cuisine, but we had a Greek restaurant for a while. A cafe, but I guess my best claim to fame is my beautiful little patisserie that I had for almost 10 years at Grange. It was called Bittersweet, and it was because we did these amazing, sweet, beautiful treats, but it's very, very hard work, So the work is the bitter part and the sweet is the reward. So done a lot of competition as well. So my life has been very full of cake and pastry for a very long time.
Yeah, beautiful.
So, yeah.
Just on that, competitions globally, I understand. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
So you've done quite a bit.
Yeah. So I don't know why I ever started. I think just to better myself, to see how to push myself. But as a young person, I did the typical Australian ones. There's one called World Skills, and then there's Bake Skills, and a couple of other just national ones around. And they're all on my own back, just me competing. And then I moved into the international arena just by chance with an Australian team, with the Australian Culinary Federation. And we, I guess the biggest one we did was the Culinary Olympics. And you think of the Olympics as all the sporting athletes, but to see a sea of chefs, the hats and the white jackets and thousands of chefs all together,
Cool.
It's just mind-blowing that, that actually happens and people don't even know. But yeah, that was in a little place called Erfurt in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And it happens in Germany every 4 years, the Culinary Olympics. And we won couple of gold medals and some silvers and some bronze.
Cool. What sorts of things did you have to make or showcase to get those awards?
So there's 2 types of competitions with the Culinary Olympics and most competitions, like a cold table, so stuff that's just static or you don't eat, just to look at. So for me, there's things like chocolate showpiece and little tiny petit fours with the beautiful little garnishes. So that's one side of it. And the other side is what they call a hot kitchen. So they actually cook. They cook for 120 people, I think it was. So that's all organised by the associations. And we had as a team of chefs, so there was 4 other cuisine chefs and then me as a pastry chef. So to cook a 3-course meal for 120 people in 3 or 4 hours.
Wow.
So just getting that beautiful little dessert to complement everything and getting it done on time. And hygiene is obviously a huge thing. So trying to stay clean, which isn't my biggest aspect. But so just, being the best that you can be in those circumstances and just putting out some really beautiful desserts for me.
Wow. So that was previous to teaching at Le Cordon Bleu, but let's take it back a little bit. How did your love for patisserie begin?
It just sort of fell on me, really. I had no idea what I wanted to do as a young person, but Mum always tells me that I was always in the kitchen. I used to have this little recipe book as a kid, standing on a stool at the kitchen bench and always baking. And she's got a photo of me watching the oven, just watching things rise in the oven as a little person, and photos of me under the table having tea parties, me, myself and I, little tea party. So I've always loved that food and indulging yourself in sweet stuff. But what I did was just a 3-day course at school. Fell in love with it as soon as I touched bread dough and pastry, and it's like, I love this. This is what I want to do.
It was your calling in life. Yep. Beautiful.
So just went on from there, and in Australia, obviously, all over the world, we do an apprenticeship. So I did a 4-year apprenticeship in the Grand at Glenelg as a 5-star hotel back in the day, and just kept on keeping on. And I would never ever do anything different, And you hear people say that 50 or they still don't know what they want to do with their life. Well, I've found it so early, and I'm so grateful for that because I love every minute of it. I really, really do.
That's lovely. Yeah. And now you're teaching our students, our up-and-coming culinary professionals. You've been doing that for 8 years. What would you say your favourite thing about the job is?
Oh, so many things. I just love being in the kitchen. Part of my job, obviously we have to organise assessments and stuff like that. So it's a little bit of office time, but I don't like the office. I like to be in the kitchen using and creating. And I think it's the artistic flair, that you get to put your own little touch and create things from nothing. Like you've got these 3 tubs of flour, sugar and butter and eggs in the fridge, and you come up with this amazing, beautiful, shiny dessert. And one of the other things that I love is just the expression on people's faces when they see them and when they eat them, because they're just amazing. It blows people's minds. Some of the simple things that you do, just like a smooth meringue that you torch, it gets that caramel, it gets the smooth, it gets the sweet, just so many little things that I love about it.
Yeah. Talk us through, so Cert 3, Cert 4, Advanced Diploma, what are the sorts of things that our students get to make throughout those crucial periods of their study?
Yep. So obviously we get them fresh off the boat. Some of them, have never washed pots or pans in their life, so we've got to go through all that hygiene and maintaining equipment and all that basic stuff to start with. So they're all our fundamentals. But then we move into, a basic cake. So what they call them in France is gâteau de voyage. So they're cakes to travel. So, but we in Australia, a little pound cake or a fruit cake, just a nice little solid cake. So little things like how do we cream butter and sugar and what's the perfect temperature and why does it do this and how does it rise in the oven. So all those basic things with cakes. And they go on to do sponges and stuff like what we call a Giconde and a Genoese and all those sorts of different types of sponges that are around. Obviously, there's pastry. So we've got sweet paste and savoury short crust and stuff like that to make a million different products. And we've got all our vigneries, so your Danish and your croissants, very traditional French, the old croissants. A lot of them, like I've been waiting to make croissants for so long. It's like, yeah. And then we move into things like entremets, so more layered gâteaux with the beautiful shiny glazes. And there's chocolate, one of my favourites. So we use and explore chocolate as a whole, so couverture chocolate, so the real deal chocolate, how to temper it, how it works, how to keep it shiny, released from a mould and all that sort of things. And lots of other things along the way, but we always start with the basics and work up. In our 3-month for Cert 3, work up to, some pretty amazing entremets. And one of their final assessments is to design their own entremet, so the flavours and the layers. So using all the things that they've learned over the last 6 months to design their own little cake. And pretty amazing what they come up with sometimes, what they've learnt. And then we move on to Cert 4, and then all the fun stuff starts. So sugar showpiece and chocolate showpiece and making these amazing, great structures that, stand up and hold and shiny and beautiful and colours and flair and
too good to eat.
Yeah. Everyone says, can you eat them? Well, yeah, you can, but you probably wouldn't want to.
All that work.
Yeah.
I imagine. How many hours would you say it takes for the students to create those amazing showpieces?
So we spend 5 days
Wow.
Creating a showpiece with 5-hour lessons, so it's 25 hours.
Wow.
But that's learning everything from scratch. So obviously once they've got those skills under their belt, maybe 1 or 2 days, they could pull one up in.
Yeah.
So
amazing.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And it sounds like they learn a lot of the science behind things as well. So it's not like your traditional patisserie course where you're just going to come, cook, and that's it. You really understanding the whys of like, why does this happen? How can I fix it if something goes wrong and that kind of thing as well.
That's the most important thing I think about our job is the troubleshooting, because nothing ever comes out perfect all the time. And we have to understand how we can fix it. And so if we make it next time, because, it doesn't happen again, but all of those fundamentals and you think sugar, what does sugar do? Well, sugar does about 6 things in a cake, not just the one beautiful sweetness that we love. It does so many different things, and it's really important for our students to be able to understand that so they can grow as pastry chefs.
One thing about my job is I interview a lot of students and alumni along the way, some who have only just started out in industry and some who might have worked 10 years and really made their mark on the industry. Yeah. And the one question I always like to ask is, what was your favourite thing about studying at Le Cordon Bleu? And probably 95% of the answers is the lecturers.
Oh, really?
The lecturers are their absolute favourite thing, obviously with a wealth of knowledge. So is there a standout moment for you or something really nice that a student has said to you that sticks in your mind to this day?
They always say nice things. They're always very grateful and appreciative of everything that we do, which is amazing because, sometimes you don't get that from people. But even just last semester, we had a few Cert 3 guys come through and they saw me in the corridor and it's like, oh, I saw you on a video, chef. That glaze was amazing. It's like, I don't remember which video it was, but thank you. And it's like, oh, we came to Adelaide because, we saw your video and we wanted to come and learn from you. And, that's just amazing when someone wants to follow you somewhere.
Absorb all your knowledge
because
that you've
they've
learned.
seen something. It's like, I hope I didn't disappoint you. But, but no, they're just excited to see you on a day and, to be better themselves and to copy you or mimic you. And it's like, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And have you ever gone out to a restaurant or to a cafe and recognised one of your students?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah,
because Adelaide's not a very big place, so everywhere you go, there's another one.
Yeah.
And they always remember you. And I have trouble with names, so I feel terrible when I don't remember their name sometimes. But they'll go, Chef Jenny, how are you? And they'll bring you a complimentary coffee or whatever. So, but they always, and even just walking down the street, it's so nice to see them outside of the college and doing well and happy and
Have you had any students who have opened their own patisseries?
Yes, but none that I can remember the names of. But I'm pretty sure there's 3 or 4 in Adelaide.
Yeah, wow.
Just little patisseries, just doing daytime stuff and but lots of students go on to do amazing things. We've got alumni Gunawan, if you heard his name before. So he's in Indonesia at the moment doing amazing things over there, and he's been really big at pushing the brand as well. So he's done some great stuff. Another one of my favourites, Hoi Nguyen, he's done amazing things. So I always say it's lovely to see your student be better than you. He definitely has. He's very intelligent and he reads a lot and he understands a lot of fundamentals, and he's currently with the Foodland brand at the moment. So a head patissiere in Foodland, trying to bring all those supermarkets up to some nice products.
Yeah, cool.
But and hotels. They always seem to go back to the hotels and you go in for a coffee or a drink and there's another one.
Yeah.
So, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
It's good.
How would you say our patisserie program differs from others that are out there?
I think Le Cordon Bleu, being the brand that it is, that we're passionate and we always like to do the best that we can, whereas some other programs don't offer that passion and that love. Whereas, support crew from admin and all the people that are around us in the school, it's just an amazing place to be. So it offers that support, that family, and especially, the lecturers, we get to know the kids really well and they become like family. So it offers all that as well. But in the programs that we offer too, they're very French. So I guess we don't get that in other programs. So we try to, focus on all the traditional French products, the croquembouche and the baguette and the croissant, and really try to push that into the program as well. So it is its own little beast.
Yes.
Very different from anything else. And, a very good program.
Yeah. What sorts of placements do you find your students going into? Like what are the types of like cafes and patisseries that they end up in?
So there's a lot of different types. So as if we talked about a bakery, more cupcakes and icing buns and stuff like that, as opposed to the high end of a hotel with petit fours and chocolate work. And we really try to place the students where we think they'll succeed. Mm-hmm. You don't want to put someone who's not good with chocolate in a hotel.
Of course,
so trying to place them in places like that. But again, there's not too many. Adelaide tends to suffer a little bit with finding placements, whereas obviously Sydney and Melbourne have a lot more places to go. Mm-hmm. But it's normally the hotels we find them going to, the function centres like Adelaide Oval, mm-hmm. places that have big capacity, just so those kids can get hands-on and constantly working and learning.
So. Have you had any students decide to go over to Paris? Because I know that is an option for our students to go overseas and do their work placements.
Not that I know of, but I know a few of them have been back to Indonesia and done placement there, or back to China and done their placements in their home countries, which is really amazing too, because it's so different than Adelaide. Mm-hmm. But even a lot of them just go to Sydney or Melbourne as well to do their placements and end up staying there. They'll find a job. And,
I guess that's the beauty of the industry. You can, do your training one place, end up doing your placement in another and even working in another. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. Everywhere you go, you learn something new.
Yeah.
So, that's pretty good.
Beautiful. What's the one word of advice that you would give to someone who has a real passion for patisserie and they just don't know what the next step is for them?
You've got to try it, I guess. You just got to jump in and give it a go. Sometimes a 6-month course might be a little bit long to see how it's going to go. But if you've got the passion, you've obviously got the love for it, and it's going to come out good in the end. So you've just got to get that experience and the knowledge under your belt and study.
Yeah. What's the one thing that you wish you knew before you even delved into the industry professionally? Is there one thing that you wish you thought you knew?
Only bad things. Like how hard it is and how mean some chefs can be. And, it's really, really tough industry. It really is. And
you have to really have that passion and commitment behind you.
Yep. But no, I mean, there's so much amazing stuff about it as well, about being in the kitchen and the vibe in the kitchen. And it's just like your family,
But beautiful. All right. Well, thank you, Jenni, for inspiring the hundreds of students that come through our doors every year. We know you're a true asset to Le Cordon Bleu, and it wouldn't be the institute it is without you. So thank you.
Cheers. Thank you very much for having me.
No, our pleasure. Thanks, Jenni.
No worries.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Mastery in the Making. If you found this discussion interesting and inspiring, don't forget to share, subscribe, or tell a friend. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.